Hey guys, what's going on? This is your old pal CHH. Now, I know I can be a sucker for a lot of movies that people will say, Chris, that wasn't that good. And I swear, when I latch onto a movie that I love, I can't shut up about it. And I don't like using exaggeratory words for certain films. Like I don't like calling A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 underrated or anything, but sometimes movies can become forgotten in a grand sense. And when I talk about this movie, this is the number one film that I love from the 90s, that when I talk to 10 people about it, 6 or 7 will always say, I haven't seen that. And that movie is, boy, I love this one. It's called The Resurrected. Now, this is an H.P. Lovecraft tale. It stars Chris Sarandon, and to top it off, it has music done by the great Richard Band. And can I also mention that it was directed by Dan O'Bannon, but maybe not so much. The fact is, I think he got sick, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in this video. When it comes to 90s horror films, when I think of 90s, I always think of Full Moon. The golden era of Full Moon was definitely in the early 90s. Now, The Resurrected is not that, even though, we have a band involved with this. This was Richard Band. The Resurrected is one of those movies that, when you think about the early 90s, the reality is it's still very much like the 80s. Horror films that were unique, had their own vision and story, and not to mention H.P. Lovecraft stuff got huge in the 80s, it seemed. Charlie was trying to wipe out all the H.P. Lovecraft movies. What is The Resurrected? I'd like to give you a brief summary of it without spoiling too much, because in reality, I want you to watch this. There could be options available with this for you, so hang tight when it comes to whether you should get this or not. I'll give you all that at the end of the video. Like I said, this movie stars Chris Sarandon, and all of a sudden, his wife starts to hire a private investigator to find out what her husband is up to. He's being really weird. He's locking himself away in his back room, and all kinds of weird stuff is arriving to his house, and she can't get a grip on what it is. She gets the information back that he's up to some really weird stuff, weird experimentations, all these weird chemicals and things that are coming to his house. The police want to try to start investigating him. The whole story is, what the hell is going on with this guy? I'll say this about The Resurrected. This movie feels like the Full Moon version, in a sense, of like Reanimator. Now, the doctor, which is played by Chris Sarandon, you find out that he's up to some strange experimentation. The question is, why is he doing this? Is this of his own volition? Is there outer things making him do this? That's where all the mystery lies, and that's where the story unfolds. When it comes to this movie, I love the tone of it. Now, this is an early 90s film, and unlike Reanimator, which Reanimator is perfect. I'm not saying this is better than Reanimator, but unlike Reanimator, what I love about The Resurrected is that this movie has a very pure, serious tone, which, like I said, reminds me of that golden era of Full Moon. Movies like the Subspecies films, movies like Puppet Master 1, they're whimsical and they've got their things about them, but I love the fact that this one is deadly serious. And, I think Chris Sarandon has certainly more iconic roles, but to say that he was the perfect guy for this movie, I mean, he does such a great job. His range is very much in the dark sense the entire film, but he gets darker and darker, and you believe it. It's a gradual darkness that does not come across hokey whatsoever. Some of the things that the horror fans would probably like to know about this is the effects work. Now, obviously, this artwork gives you the idea that you're going to see some wild stuff, and boy, do you. Not only do you get to see some really grotesque, weird, bizarre special makeup effect stuff, but also some great old school techniques. There's some beautiful stop motion and almost like reverse motion stuff that gives the gore sequences and this body morphing stuff this great dreamlike look to it. It's like I said, this feels like it could have been a well-produced, well-budgeted early 90s Full Moon film. It's not, but boy does it have that feeling to it. And quality. I would put this up there. If this was a Full Moon film, just for the sake of the argument, this would be at the very, very top of the golden era. I mentioned this earlier, but like I said, Richard Band did the score for this, and when I interviewed Richard, he loved that I brought this movie up. Richard's music is extremely anthemic and huge and orchestral sounding in this, and he thinks it's one of his best works as well, and I have to agree. While it's not music that you can hum like the Puppet Master theme, the music for this is so great. I love the music for The Resurrected. All in all, guys, I'm going to say this. The Resurrected, to me, is one of the most underrated 90s films. It's not a movie that moves a million miles an hour, but it's a movie that envelops your room the second you put it on. The performance of Chris Sarandon, the characters surrounding him, and then once you get down to where the movie gets darker and you get into scenes where you get to see the effects work, so to speak, I love that the tone stays serious. It's such a great early 90s horror film. So, let's talk about this film's release history. Now, guys, this film did have a Scream Factory Blu-ray release. Now, I'm not exactly sure at this moment in time if that is still available, but I'll say this. That release did not look bad. Did not look bad at all. It was a 1080p. I don't remember where they sourced it from. Sometimes they don't make that public. If they did source it from a negative or something, I don't recall. I think it was just a 1080p, maybe taken from a Studio Master or something, but it looked fine. And if that's still available and I've piqued your interest, that's totally an option. A lot of these titles from Vinegar Syndrome, when they initially come out, they're a little on the pricier side, and I totally get that. I'm not here to sell you on buying this today. Obviously, you guys know that Vinegar Syndrome does sales. They can offer stuff without the slipcover. I got this because I am a massive fan of The Resurrected, and I just wanted to talk. I needed an excuse to talk about it, and this was the perfect excuse. Now, let's talk about the picture quality of this, of course, real quick. Now, when I put this on, I said to myself, this doesn't look bad, but I feel like I'm missing something. I thought I was going to have to give this a 1 thumb up review for the picture quality, but something told me to go check my settings. For some reason, when my power flickers, and it flickered yesterday in the house, sometimes my settings on my 4K player, they go to different modes. HDR was turned off, Dolby Vision was turned off, so I was like, why does this not look amazing? I put them on, and then I went back to the film, and then my big Dolby Vision logo popped up in the corner, and I was like, oh my god, now we're cooking with grease. It looked phenomenal. This was taken from the negative. Beautiful, authentic film grain in here as well. I mean, as good as it can look. I love the picture quality. And to be honest with you, I expected that. If it's taken from the negative, and Vinegar Syndrome has a pretty good run on their restoration work, I expect quality from them, and they delivered that. The audio was no exception either. The film rocked the house, and the soundtrack was just so good. Like I said, I love Richard Band's music, so it was just a win-win for me. Now let's look at this release, guys, and we'll absolutely talk about the inside and the contents. Here's the artwork. The slipcover is a little bit embossed. You get a little bit of that embossing on the word Resurrected. This is all kind of just like a shiny color, but you get a little bit of that embossment on the title right there. Here's the spine, the Resurrected. In the back has a great shot of Chris Sarandon. Yeah, we'll take it out. I flipped it to the original theatrical poster art, which, interestingly enough, the Scream Factory release, I don't even think had this. This is the original theatrical poster art for The Resurrected. Obviously, you can flip it, and you can have this art on it if you want, but why not swap it and have the original thing on here? So, let's open it up. It's a 2-disc release. Both discs do look identical. The Blu-ray is right there because that's where the special features are. And there you have it. Like I said, picture quality was absolutely outstanding. Not going to disparage the Scream Factory release. That's totally fine if you want to get that. Maybe you stream this movie somewhere and you say you like it, you'd like to own it, and you can get that cheap. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But if you see it and you like it, or if you just want to get this because of the people involved, Chris Sarandon, etc., this did look phenomenal, and it should, quite frankly. So let's talk about the special features. The Blu-ray actually was a good Blu-ray from Scream Factory. They had interviews with Richard Band and others, but let's look at what this one says. 4-disc contains the 105-minute feature presentation of The Resurrected in Dolby Vision HDR, newly scanned and restored from the negative, with the following sound options: English language 2.0 stereo soundtrack, and a commentary track with producers Mark Board and Kenneth Raich, writer Brent V. Friedman, special effects artist Todd Masters, and actor Robert Romanos. Also included is a Blu-ray disc containing everything on the UHD disc, plus the following special features: Duality of a Man, a new interview with actor Chris Sarandon. And I have to pause for a second and say, I was blown away that this guy is 83 years old and looks and talks like he's 40. I think he actually is a vampire. It is the most motivating thing I've ever seen. Chris Sarandon is in perfected shape. not for his age, just in general. And his mind, his hand movements, I mean, he literally talks and moves just like I am now. He's able to keep his train of thought really well. He even, doesn't stumble his words like I do. I mean, it's impressive. Absolutely impressive. God bless Chris Sarandon. Being present, a new interview with actor Robert Romanus, which we didn't get him last time. That was great. A Grizzly crossover, a new interview with film critic and author Kim Newman. Claire's Conundrum, an archival interview with actress Jane Sibbett. The Strange Case of Charles Dexter Ward, an archival interview with author S.T. Josse. The Resurrected Man, an archival interview with Chris Sarandon. Abominations and Adaptations, an archival interview with writer Brent V. Friedman. Grotesque Melodies, an archival interview with composer Richard Band. Lovecraftian Landscapes, an archival interview with production designer Brent Thomas. Human Experiments, an archival interview with special effects artist Todd Masters. Deleted and extended scenes. Chainsaw Award speech. I guess I forgot to mention this. I alluded to this earlier. Long story short, Dan O'Bannon was having some health concerns during this time, so he wasn't there a whole lot. I do remember Richard, who talked in his interview, which was from the Scream Factory interview, and I'm glad that they ported all that over, that he would step out, and I think, I forgot, it might have been the cinematographer that came in and kind of just started directing this film, or they might have used the second unit guy. I can't remember offhand. I don't remember it being a big name that did it. But yeah, Dan, he directed, I think, maybe 35 to 40% of this film, and then people had to help because he was having some serious health issues at the time. They don't really go into detail about what that was, but he lived to 2009, so it couldn't have been that detrimental. But it's a very good stacked release. The interview with Chris Sarandon was like 30 minutes long, and the others, the new ones that they had were pretty lengthy, so you get a lot of good interviews. The price on this is a little high. There's no denying that. I do like the stuff that they give in this, though. I mean, the new interviews as well as having the archival stuff is great for the people that don't own the Scream Factory release and they don't want to feel like they're missing out. Yeah, there you have it, guys. Above anything else, I beg of you, my audience, to watch this film. I love The Resurrected. It is a truly forgotten 90s horror gem. And when people talk about the 90s, I always try to make mention of this film because it's one of my all-time favorites. It's one of my favorite Chris Sarandon performances, Richard Band scores, and just a great, great Lovecraftian film with no humor, just straight to the bone, if you will. So there you have it, guys. The Resurrected. I love this film. Please check it out if you have not. Thank you guys for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and please drop your comments below. Happy spooky season, y'all. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.